My name is Alexandre Rockwell. I have yellow hair, which is not natural, okay? I'm an independent filmmaker from New York. I've been making films I started when I was 18. I'm now 70. But I tell you, I feel as young today as I did when I first picked up a camera. I made film actually in Paris. I made a film for a group called Les Grecs, which was for discovering small little films. And I made a little film here when I lived in Paris when I was 18. I always made my own films alone, editing, shooting, sometimes even acting, and made a film called In the Soup in 1990. And I made some films before that, but then this film suddenly blew. Everyone liked it because it was about a young filmmaker who was trying to struggle to make films in the East Village in the late 70s. It's a funny story. He meets a gangster, and the gangster finances his movie, but he's always afraid of him. But at the same time, the guy forces him into life. Steve Buscemi was in it, his first film. And that film was very popular. So then after that, I made a film called Somebody to Love with Rosie Perez, Harvey Keitel, Quentin Tarantino's in it. That film was a struggle for me because the company that financed it went bankrupt. And it was a difficult time for me. And I was in Hollywood. And I started to really kind of not like the world of cinema so much. I hated the idea you have to get a star, you have to get a lot of money. And so I was a bit in a crisis thing. So I looked at my children, because I had two little kids at the time, Lana and Nico, with my wife, Karen Parsons. And I watched them and I said, I'm just gonna make a film with them. Very simple, in black and white, 16 millimeter. And people liked it right away. It was a very innocent film. It was like, it had the energy of a young filmmaker making his first film. So people really liked the film. And then I made another film, Sweet Thing, which you saw, which is sort of a continuation. It's my kids a few years later, where the innocence kind of the first movie collides with the limitations of an adult world, saying you can no longer be a kid. I had some success with these two movies that helped kind of make me feel excited about making films again.
What is it like to make a movie with your whole family?
No.
What's it like?
It's really great. I mean, it's sometimes challenging, but it's kind of like when you have a big dinner with your family. Sometimes they fight, sometimes everyone wants the same piece of chicken. But the good news is you don't have to be polite and nice all the time. It's not about money, it's about to enjoy it, to make it fun. My wife, who is amazing in Sweet Thing, it's so wonderful to work with your family, to see them falling in love with the process too. My son wants to be making films now.
What kind of movies does he want to make?
I think he wants to make films kind of similar to me, but I want him to do his own thing. His first movie, the one we saw, it's called Sam's Silence. It's about a young man trapped in his trauma. It's that kind of very serious time of life when you think everything has to be very serious. But he's talented. He's got a good eye.
When you make the movie with your whole family, do you decide everything or is there really like a shared work?
Well, it's interesting. My job is it's like if I'm teaching you dancing, right? If I teach you the cha-cha, I find exactly what that is. And now they're free to do the cha-cha as they do it. For most actors, they like that very much. They like total freedom to do what they do, but they like you to give them a very clear direction. So when I make films, even if it's not my family, I try to make it easier for the actor. So I give them a difficult thing to do, and that makes it easy for them not to act.
Both movies are about poor children in a complicated family.
Yeah.
Why is this subject so important to you?
Well, sometimes when you're poor, it's something about a person who has nothing to defend, nothing to protect, nothing to lose. And then the other thing is that when I was growing up, like I lived with my mother for a while, and I never thought about money. As long as you could eat, you never thought you were poor or rich. Now, these days, life has changed. Like, the money really won. To go to a concert was $20. Now you pay $350 to go see some concert. And also, as you see in both films, the parents are kind of brutal, like they got problems. So the kids are isolated, and it was easier for me to do when they're poor. But maybe, who knows? What if they were very rich? Like, it could be the same problem in a way.
Why do you choose to release the movies now, so many years after in France?
First of all, what I love about Paris, it's still the center of cinema in terms of the normal daily life. It's also a cultural thing that people love cinema. In France, people still are interested in the small movies. And Contre-jour proposed to me to re-release with the help of the French government, which is fantastic. The CNC, helps these films. So I really decided with Contre-jour that it would be good to release these films.
How did people receive it?
Really, really well. Sometimes when you're a small distributor, it's very hard to get the attention because the big films, suck it up. I think these films are very well received. I have real confidence that the more people who see the films, the better. So really the thing is the challenge of cinema right now is to get certain movies to the audience. One thing I'm very proud of with the films, they are generous to the audience. They involve emotionally the audience.
You can't make it without ever even trying.
Do you think that there is nowadays a real place and a real audience to these kind of independent movies?
I think there's an audience for sure. It's not the audience problem. It's the problem of the people with the money who want to make the most money. And it's a shame because there's value in promoting things that are harder to find. But I have faith. I have faith that audiences will make an effort to come see these kind of movies.
Why did you choose to make it black and white?
I love the look of black and white. When you say Jean Vigo or you say, La Strada, some of my favorite movies are in black and white. But then the other thing is like when you shoot something in color, it can be very distracting. The color red will pull your attention. Whereas in black and white, the attention is on the face, the human, the structure, the form. Like you can do amazing things with color. But you have to have a production design and you have to have control. Black and white just looks better when you don't have much money.
Do you have any references that crossed your mind when you were making the movie?
I wanted to make like the first movie again. Like I wanted to be innocent again when I made Little Feet. So I wanted to break all the rules as if I had not known some of the things I learned later. And there's a great movie called Killer of Sheep by Charles Barnett. And it had that feeling to it, with just kind of like a wildness to it. And I love that. And then Jean Vigo, like Zero for Conduct. It has that energy of the first movie. Anything's possible, So that's why I really wanted to have that feeling. In both films a little bit, but really in Little Feet.
Will you make a movie together one more time?
My kids? Yeah, it's a good question. I really wanted to do it. But, the problem with it is for me is that when you have, like my daughter's 22 and my son's 19. So if I made a film, I was thinking, when sexuality comes in from the age of 16, 17, 18, 19, it becomes a very important part of your life. And I don't like, some people do, I don't like watching young people sexually. I'm not going to ask actors, to do this. Like, it's embarrassing. And especially if they were my children. And to be honest about that age, you have to have it. But there was a movie called Kids, Larry Clark. I respect aspects of it, but I found it really offended me. And it's honest, but he's an old man doing it. I say, let an 18-year-old do it. Let an 18-year-old director make a film about that, not me. It's not my business. It's sad. It's too bad because I think one more would be great with like 3 stages. It was natural, but I just can't get my head around the sexual thing. And to avoid it would be lying. Maybe I can figure out a way not to show anything. The funny thing about sex in cinema is that you watch it. Sexuality between people is very rarely watching it. Usually you're feeling something. Someone's here, maybe you see their hair, maybe you see their ear. But we've created a language in cinema of seeing it, especially in modern cinema. I hate seeing it. Like, why am I watching this? Like,
Well, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that your kids are really amazing. I mean, you too and your wife too. I didn't check if they were your kids.
Yeah, they are crazy, yeah. First of all, they were amazing to watch. It was like watching little magic people, Lana has the kind of face, like you feel for her. She has that ability. Nico's a wild boy, and he's great with energy. But Lana has this kind of canvas face. I wish she would do more acting. She was, I guess, spoiled because she worked with me because I'm not an asshole director. Like many directors are like egos, and I think they're great directors sometimes. But many directors just say do something, but it makes no sense. You would never do that. And I think for Lana, that's not how she is best. She's best when when she feels trust and she feels that you are there, that you care, and that you're not going to just push her into something that's, stupid. So I don't think she doesn't really want to do that, and I understand why. All right.
Well, thank you very
Nice talking
much.
to you.
Nice talking to you too.